I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And in fact, if you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is It's Time. What is it time for? Well, it's time for you to perhaps sow some seeds of greatness right now, because we just had one of the best new moons that we'll probably ever have 2 days ago on Monday, when we had a new moon at 1 degree of Pisces. And the sign was loaded with very good planets. And that's because the sun and the moon were in Pisces, so that's the lights. And Neptune, the ruler of the sign, was also there. And Neptune is the strongest planet in the heaven because it's the only one that is at home in the sign it rules. And so these three wonderful illuminating planets in Pisces simply emphasize all of the things that Pisces stands for. It rules the traditional 12th house of limitations and of our doubts and our fears and of the things we kid ourselves about. And it also rules charity, and it rules forgiveness, and it rules dreams and hopes and wishes and things that maybe could be a little bit beyond our reach, but it could still represent something that we long for or that we really want. And Pisces is a double-bodied mutable sign, and the character traits of a mutable sign are ones of tolerance and of understanding and wanting to know different points of view and being sort of well-rounded and willing to listen to a lot of different people, being rather sympathetic. And Pisces rules illusion. It rules the feet, so it rules dance, and it rules photography, and it rules anything coming out of the ground that is a liquid, so it rules the oil and gas business, but it also rules the whole pharmaceutical field. And so that covers a lot of ground, doesn't it? And true to the real nature of Pisces, the oil and gas business is a good example of why Pisces rules it. Because in that business, you can either hit a gusher of an oil well, or you can hit a dry hole and be really broke. So either rich or poor. And it's also a very dangerous business, but that isn't written up. In other words, it's written up as being glamorous and high priced, but it's extremely dangerous because oil and gas are flammable and anything can set them off. So this is a time when you may be able to sow seeds of greatness. And the reason why I'm emphasizing the small part of it, the seed part of it, is because I think that that's where all big things start. They start small, and if they become great, they're not great to begin with. But if you have a good idea, or if you have very good intentions about something, or you feel strongly sympathetic about something and wanting to help people, you might just come up with a great idea right now that you could start, and it's like putting a little seed in the ground. You put the seed in the ground, you dig a hole, put the seed in, put a little plant food in, water it, cover it with a little mulch so it doesn't get too dry or burned, and watch it grow. And that's the same thing that you could do with a good idea now, or with something that you want to start that is new. And a lot of great things have started very small. And so there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just planting a seed of an idea right now, or just going forward and trying something new. It may not work out quite the way you envisioned it. Maybe it'll sort of take a few twists and turns, but that's all right as long as you stick with it. This could be a time when you are on the verge of a wonderful new beginning. Now, why is that? Because there's 10 planets up there. They are all direct, which is very unusual, but it's happening now and will continue to happen until March 21st, I think, or no, April 21st. And so if all the planets are direct, there's nothing stopping you from moving forward right along with them. So you're going with the energy of the universe if you move forward right now. And then it is simply that 5 of the 10 planets that are up there are in only 2 signs. And they are Pisces and Aries. And so we have that Sun and New Moon and Neptune, remember, which is the strongest planet now because it is in the sign it rules. And those 3 planets in Pisces, which are being illuminated under this full moon, or this new moon in Pisces, are right behind 2 other planets in Aries that can practically guarantee you a new start right now, because they're 2 of the best planets in the heavens as well. And it is that Venus has just left Pisces, and it is now at about 1 degree of Aries. And Venus is a fairly fast mover. It only takes 8 months to get through all 12 signs. And so it's moving a little faster than the other planet that's in Aries. But these are great planets. And so Venus is at 1 degree of Aries, and it is going to come up and it is going to conjunct Jupiter at 10 degrees of Aries. And Aries is a dynamic fire sign, enthusiastic, wants to get up and go. It's the sign of the pioneer. That's why if you have a good idea or you have a dream that you would like to see come true, and even if it's been delayed again and again and again, particularly when all the planets were retrograde for so long, now that everything is direct, you should go forward and try to make that dream come true. Because with Venus and Jupiter right ahead of this new moon, these 5 planets, the 3 in Pisces and the 2 in Aries, and with all planets being direct, seems to indicate that you could really make a successful new beginning now, that the timing is excellent. And another thing that's helping you out is that once again, we are in an unusual situation with the placement of the planets, and it is that there are all 10 planets on only 1/2 of your chart, which means you could be real busy getting things underway or making a dream come true or following through on a hope and a wish. And it is aspected for success, so I suggest you sort of get up and get going this week. And then the other side of your chart, and there's all 10 planets on one side, gives you a lot of power right now, but the other side of your chart has no planets in it. And so what that means is that the final excuse you might give yourself for not getting a new beginning underway is that you could say, oh, well, there's something holding me back. No, there isn't. And the reason why is there's no planets on 1/2 of your chart where your life is very quiet right now. And that means that there is nothing opposing all the other 10 planets. See, if there's nothing opposing all 10 planets, there's nothing holding them back. Plus, they're all direct. Plus, 5 of them are in just Pisces and Aries. So, do you see why, if you wanted to plant some seeds of greatness, sure, you'd just be starting small. But they have a wonderful potential for growing into something great. And so, if you have a fond dream and it has never come true, now is the time for you to get out there and try to make it come true. And what do you have to lose? Nothing. So you may as well start. And it seems that a new beginning is extremely well aspected right now. So I hope that you go ahead, and you don't have to do anything big. You just have to take the first step, and then another one, and another one. And just keep going. I mean, if you run into an obstacle, go around it, and then keep going. Because you can do it. There are no planets to stop anybody from moving forward now. And there's no oppositions to any of these planets. So I urge you, this is the time. That's why the show is called It's Time to get going. And so I hope you do. All right. What does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, you're in a sweet spot. You couldn't have it better than what you've got right now. First of all, there are no planets opposing your sun sign, and the two that are in your sign, Venus and Jupiter, are two of the best planets in the heavens, and Venus is going to come up and conjunct Jupiter very soon. I mean, it'll start the conjunction probably by next week. And so, that is a wonderful aspect. A Venus-Jupiter conjunction in any sign is the sign of a very harmonious partnership. And so, Aries, I know you like to do everything your own way. Nothing wrong with that. Besides, people need other people that have the kind of energy that you've got. So that's good. Just go forward. But at the same time, just remember you would get further if you had a partner, or you would get further if somebody else sort of, if you talk to somebody about your idea and they were able to advise you or help you or join you. And, if you just sort of, if this was a time when you were thinking, well, in order to get going, I have to assemble a team. This is a perfect time to do that, Aries. And teamwork is ruled by Leo. And Venus and Jupiter in Aries are trining the sign of Leo. So, sure you could be the leader, Aries, but you still need a team, or else you're going to wear yourself out doing all the work yourself. You don't want to do that. So I hope that you, the new moon was right behind your sun sign, and it was filled with light. So people can see what's going on in the background of your life, Aries. There's no mystery there. People can see all that. And so you ought to just move forward now and try to make a dream come true. And if you need teammates to help you with that, this is the time to go find them. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, there are two planets in the earth signs, which means that since they're trining each other, Uranus in your sign is trining Pluto, which is at the 29th degree of fate in Capricorn. And so this can be an important sort of a pivot point for you, Taurus, meaning that Uranus trining Pluto is very harmonious. But at the same time, since Pluto is at that fateful 29th degree, and it will be changing signs next month and going into Aquarius, where it will begin to square your sun. It can be that this is sort of a last-minute chance for you to somewhat solidify a business deal, or something that has to do with a large corporation, government agency, or institution, and it would have something to do with money or budgets or long-term security or even health benefits. Those are the things that earth signs rule. And so I think that you are going to have to pivot from whatever you've been thinking of doing right now, Taurus, to taking a longer view of how you can benefit sort of down the road, and go for that. So your sign is the sign of a good hard worker, but all of us have to watch our health, and healthcare is very expensive. And so I think that you have to sort of pivot your focus from what it's been on for a while over to business things that indicate long-term security, healthcare, a business matter, and attend to it. And the reason why I urge you to do that, Taurus, is because it can be like planting a seed of greatness. If you set yourself up now with the bookwork or a schedule for something that will sustain you for years to come, you will always be glad you did that. And so don't put it off, Taurus, because when Pluto goes into Aquarius, it will square Uranus in your sign. And that is going to wreak havoc on a lot of budgets. And that's why you need to make sure that you've got some long-term business matters settled now. if you can. And if you've never, if you thought, oh, someday I'll do this, and now it's time, Taurus, for you to get in there and sort of set yourself up a little bit more for the long haul. Because Pluto has been trining your sun for, I think, about 19 years. And it's been trining Uranus in your sign for the last 5 years. So you've been under some pretty solid aspects, Taurus. But that might be about to change. And that is why you need to prepare for the change, is all I'm saying. And now's the time to do it. And even if you start small, or you're putting away a little extra money for your retirement now, that could pay off pretty well down the road. And you need to provide for that now. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, there are 3 wonderful planets in the air signs right now. And so that's good for you, Gemini, because they're all trining each other. And that is because Mercury, your own ruler, and Saturn are in Aquarius, trining Mars in your sign. And since all the planets are direct, and none of them are being opposed by anything else, because there are no planets on one side of your chart, it means you can be really busy trying to communicate right now, or you can be busy thinking of a plan or a process, and you could be thinking of who to contact, so you could be getting your communication line set up in order to do something that is very practical, but that has been building for a while. In other words, you're awfully well prepared for it. Whatever it is, you're very well prepared for it. Particularly in the last couple of years, you've been very well prepared for it. And the reason why is that Saturn is the planet of time, and it has been trining your sun for a couple of years now, because that's how long it's been in Aquarius. And now that it's at the 28th degree of Aquarius now, it will hit that fateful 29th degree real soon and trine your sun. And that is when some long-term plan or some culmination of a lot of experience that you have garnered over many years is going to pay off for you. And so even though the new moon and Sun and Neptune in Pisces are squaring Mars in your sign, it simply means that you may have had certainly more than one dream that you wanted to have come true. And this can be a time when you finally realize, okay, well, something's not going to happen. Okay, so you can just pivot and go to something else that could happen. Because your sign rules 2 of everything, Gemini. So you have not lost. You may have lost, or you may have just freed yourself from something that you always thought you wanted. But now you can say, oh, but I like my freedom more. And so you give that dream up. But that doesn't mean you give up every dream. It just means that you're bringing some other dream a little closer to you. And it could be one that you would be truer to, or one that you could embrace more wholeheartedly. So, like I said, you haven't lost anything. So if you had to give up one dream, but you still have this other wonderful one, that's the one you need to, it's time to start thinking about that, Gemini, and realize that it can really lead to greater peace of mind and freedom. Geminis are very active mentally. They notice a lot of things, and they're very curious. Gemini is the sign of curiosity. So you could be freeing yourself up to explore a lot of different things that you've always been interested in, Gemini. And so that would be great, because there wouldn't be anything, maybe that other dream that you might have had that you might have to give up now, maybe that would have tied you down too much. And you really have to understand and prepare for a period of time that will not occur for about at least 5 years. Well, actually, it starts in 2 years. Uranus is going to leave Taurus in 2 years, in 2025. Oh, guess where it's going, Gemini? Right into your sign. And it will stay there for 7 years. And those 7 years that Uranus will be in your sign are going to be probably the best years of your life, Gemini. You could say, oh, but I'll be older then. No, you will grow younger then. And that's going to be true for every Gemini. So look forward. And if you're doing something that allows you greater freedom, or you're dreaming about that, this is the time to get going on that, Gemini, because you've got real good things coming in a few years. So you got to get ready for it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is certainly a good new moon for you, Cancer, because it trines your sun. So the sun, new moon, and Neptune on Monday all trined your sun sign, Cancer. And they trine the sign of Scorpio as well. And these are wonderful planets, full of light and hopes and wishes, and the ability to make a dream come true, particularly if you want to plant a seed of greatness. In other words, start something that could be great down the road, but you're just sort of starting it in a little way. And I advise you to do that, Cancer. You know, you can try it. It might change in one way or another. That's fine. That's why people try things out. They don't know if they're going to work, so they try one thing. And if they evaluate it and, oh, it's got to be tweaked, or they don't care for that and they're going to try to go in a new direction, that's fine, because even if you don't stick with something, at least you're going forward, Cancer. And it's time for you to do that. In fact, I would say you're even a little late. The reason why it's very important for you to get going on something, and it would be like making a delayed dream come true. And so it could be something that you had thought of or wanted before. And I don't mean that you go back to anything. What I mean is that something that didn't work out before, that was new, for one reason or another, maybe it could work out now. So, you know, try something new, Cancer. But you're under wonderful aspects to succeed right now. So is everybody else. A new beginning really is going to get off to a great start with Venus and Jupiter both in Aries right ahead of this new moon. Now, why am I suggesting that you sort of get up and get going, Cancer? Well, and it would involve a dream. That is because Mars is about to come into your sign. And it will do that when Mars changes out of Gemini and goes into your sign next month in March. And Mars is not happy in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon is passive. So your emotions are going to get sort of stirred up next month, Cancer, in one way or another. Maybe you'll just be real busy with your new beginning. But they're going to get stirred up. Or if you've been letting something sort of drift, a situation that really needs to get resolved, I urge you to do it right now while Mars is still in Gemini, which can facilitate perhaps angry words at time, but it could get the communication ball rolling. Because by the time that Mars gets into your sign, Cancer, Cancers don't like to fight, but Mars is a fighting planet. And so whether it's you that's fighting or somebody else that's fighting, that may not be fun, Cancer. And that's why I urge you, even if it involves some sort of dream that you've been a little hesitant about, why don't you get going on it, Cancer? How do you know? It could turn out just great. And at the same time, you will have to think about, oh, maybe now is the time to really follow that dream, but end something else that conflicts with it, so that you can be happier. There's nothing wrong with that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you're about to get real lucky. And the reason why is that both Venus and Jupiter are in Aries trining your sun. And so I don't know what kind of new beginning you want to make, Leo, but it's looking real good. It's going to work out in one way or another. Now remember that Aries, where Venus and Jupiter are, rules beginnings. That sign has absolutely nothing to do with how something ends up. Okay? It doesn't have anything to do with endings. And so you could be wildly excited about a new beginning right now. But I would say you need to start small, like plant a seed of greatness and see how it grows, or see how much you want to devote to it. And you can always change your mind, or you can say, okay, this isn't quite working out the way I thought it would. I think I'll change and go in this direction. You could do that. I mean, you should make your time count. The whole time that Venus and Jupiter are both in Aries, because that's an extraordinary thing, particularly with the new moon that just happened right behind the sign of Aries on Monday, that new moon in Pisces, which indicates that a delayed dream could come true for everybody. I think you just have to be careful which dream you're choosing, Leo. And then I urge you to go for it. Whatever it is, be brave and get out there and do it, Leo. And remember, it's going to probably be greater in the end if it does start small. Because greatness can be the culmination of a lot of things, including mistakes or things that go wrong. We learn as much by the mistakes we've made as by the progress we've made. Because that's how we make progress. We can say to ourselves, oh, that's a mistake. I better not do that again. And that's how you learn, to climb higher or be better. So I've always looked at the many mistakes I've made in my life as teaching tools. I mean, if you learned something from a mistake, it had some value because it taught you something. And so this is a time when if you've learned from any of your mistakes, ask yourself what you've learned from that and then go forward. And you are aspected for success, not big success. You are aspected to make a very successful new start on something. But that has nothing to do with how it ends. But still, it's a great way to make a new start. So, best of luck, Leo. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when just like Taurus, you have to sort of step back a little bit and keep your mind on the details. And the reason why is that there are two planets in the earth signs and they both trine your sun, which is good. So Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun. There should be some sudden good news about money or your investments, and it would be positive because all the planets are direct. Nothing's retrograde. And then Pluto is at that fateful 29th degree in Capricorn. And Capricorn rules our careers. And Pluto is a planet of power, and particularly powerful truth. It actually rules psychological transformation and change. And generally the way that Pluto works when it is really activated is that it blows up everything in your life and leaves you with a grain of truth. In other words, sometimes people live their lives and they don't even think about what they're doing anymore. It's just routine. Okay, but people are always alive and growing. And so Pluto at the 29th degree, trining your sun, Virgo, is an indication that perhaps it is time for you to think of what your career means to you, or what your long-term security means to you, or what you want to be doing for the rest of your life as far as a career goes, and how much your health can be affected by your future choices. Maybe you have to consider a health problem a little bit more now. Maybe you have to devote yourself a little bit more to fixing the health problem and then deciding what you want to do with your career. Anyway, whatever it is, Virgo, you are under very good aspects to talk to the right people or the right, consult the right authority, or to get promoted for something, or at least get very good advice from people that are higher up and powerful that can guide you toward making a really good choice in your life now. Not one of these, oh, I'm just going to do the same old thing type of choices, but one of these, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Or what do I want to do for the next 5 years? And if you just sat down and asked yourself that question and you answered it honestly, I will bet you that it's not the same thing that you're doing now. Maybe you just want to grow, like that seed, and you want to expand. And maybe you're thinking, it's now or never. Well, you could be right, Virgo. So good luck. You are under aspects to get good advice from somebody that can steer you toward making a better long-term decision for yourself or for your health. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. Well, Libra, there are 3 planets in air signs, and they're all trining your sun sign, which is wonderful, because that means that Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius are trining your sun, and so is Mars in Gemini. So Libra, there should be a lot of communication going on somewhere in your life right now, because Saturn and Mars are 2 malefic planets, but they're not hurting you at all. They're not hurting each other, because they're both trining each other, and your sun sign as well. So Libra, you are really under good aspects to get out and talk to a lot of people. My advice to you is do a lot of talking right now, or go ask a lot of questions and, write down the answers, take notes, or research materials, even if you have to go to the library and check out things, sort of get the facts right now about things. Because it's really important that you benefit from what you learn now. And you can benefit, but it will take a lot of communication. Gemini is a communication sign, and Mars is there, which means you'd have to talk to a lot of people right now to get questions answered about something that's real important to you, Libra, so you should go and do that. And then Saturn and Mercury, also the planet of communication, are trining your sun. And that Saturn represents experience and things that are talent that is accrued over time, that may have done you some good, such as honors and awards that you've gotten. And so, armed with a lot more information and armed with a pretty good track record on something that you already have experience in, you could go forward, and maybe you want to do something new. So you would be planting a little seed of greatness now, but you would be well qualified to do that, Libra. And you could prove it right now. And I think you should. Sometimes Libras are just so charming, they never get down to the nitty-gritty facts. And this is the time when you need to do that. And you will miss a good opportunity if you don't go out and start talking about it and learning about it. The reason why you miss it is because Venus, your own ruler, and Jupiter are in Aries, and they are opposing your sun sign. There's nothing in your sun sign, but still, Venus and Jupiter in Aries are a very strong signal for everyone that a new beginning can be extremely successful now. You can really get off the ground. So this is not the time to sit back in your rocking chair, Libra. This is the time to get out and get questions answered and talk to people and let them know what your experience is. You have a good track record. Maybe you just need to let some people know what that is. And maybe they would like to hear that too. I mean, until you get out in the public eye, Libra, you don't know how many people would really appreciate meeting you and knowing you. So that could work out real well for you. So even if you're timid, you still need to plant that seed. You still need to get out there and communicate. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. Well, Scorpio, you too, just like Cancer, really benefit from the Pisces new moon that occurred on Monday, because the sun, the new moon, and Neptune in Pisces were all trining your sun, which is great. And so, Scorpio, this could be a time when some dream that had been delayed behind the scenes could come true. And this would be something that you had wanted to do before, but due to circumstances around you, or maybe even not in your control, it didn't happen. And you could still be thinking about it and wanting it to happen. And this could even be some sort of dream that, what you might call an old dream. It doesn't mean going back to the past. What I mean is you would have wanted to do it for quite a long time. Even something that you wanted to do when you were younger, but life got in the way and it never happened. And so now you may want to be a little bit more serious about planting a seed of greatness and, just taking that first step toward doing something that you sort of always wish you had done earlier, but you didn't. For one reason or another. I mean, there's no fault there. And like I said, life gets in the way. That just happens to all of us. But maybe you still want to make a delayed dream come true. Maybe that would erase some sort of doubt that you have had about your own capabilities. And simply by achieving something that you've wanted to achieve for a while. Or meeting people that you've it can be that when life was getting in the way, you were out there working and gaining a lot of experience. And now that experience could be put to very good use to help make an old dream come true of yours. So you should think about that, Scorpio, because this is one of the best new moons you're ever going to have. And that is because of the two planets that are in front of the Pisces new moon. And they are Venus and Jupiter in Aries. So that simply means that if you decide that you are going to take a step or plant a seed of greatness, just small thing getting started, it looks like it really could lead to something pretty great and very long lasting, believe it or not. It's the start that's going to work out really well. Well, but you still have to finish it. And that might be what had happened before. You might have started something and you never finished it. Well, this is a chance to sort of resurrect a dream and, follow through and finish something. And it would probably be a fond dream of yours. But this time you would have been at a stage where you would have so much experience. It could be not only a very successful beginning, it could constitute a long-term sign of greatness that can stay with you for the rest of your life once it's finished. So think about it, Scorpio. No time like the present. And new beginnings are really well aspected for success, even if they do involve a delayed dream. So I'd go for it if I was you. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, two of the best planets in the heavens are trining your sun right now. So are you off for a new beginning? Are you ready to lay a little seed of greatness and sort of plant it and work on it and get it going and watch it grow into something very good? Yes, I think you're really ready for that, Sagittarius. And I think you're going to give it your best. And you're so ready for it, you are just going to, I think you're just going to walk in and probably bowl somebody over with how well prepared you are for some new beginning that you want to make. Because you're really there, Sagittarius. So Venus and Jupiter in Aries are trining your sun. That means that a new beginning is almost waiting for you, Sagittarius. I mean, all you have to do is go walk through the door. It's going to be there. And it's going to be wonderful for you. And you can't drop the ball, though. This time you have got to finish it. But it's going to get off to a great start. Now, the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because actually on Monday, the Sun, the New Moon, and Neptune in Pisces were all squaring your Sun. And Mars in Gemini was opposing your Sun sign. There isn't anything in your Sun sign now. But that new moon means that a delayed dream that you may have is, you could be taking another look at that. I'm not talking about the one where the new beginning is going to be so successful, all you have to do is show up and it's there. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about something else that you had wanted to, you had sort of set your heart on. And I would say it's out of reach, Sagittarius. And I'll tell you why. It is out of reach because time has passed. See, that's nothing that any of us controls. Nobody controls time. Nobody's got a handle on time. It moves forward at the same pace for everybody. And at another time, some dream would have been great. But at this time, I think you would do better to go for some new beginning that you currently have on your mind and go for that. So if you're disappointed that some old dream is looking a little out of reach, I would say don't waste your time in vain regrets, Sagittarius, not when you're looking at such a wonderful new beginning somewhere. And as I said, all you have to do is walk through the door. It's there. I really think Venus and Jupiter are the two best planets in the heavens. One is love and the other is goodness. And they're staring at you, Sagittarius, and you've got to go for a new beginning now. And if there's a little disappointment from a dream that's not going to make it, it's not your fault, and it's not somebody else's fault either. It is just that time has passed. And we move on. And all of us are going to do that. And we're all expected to be successful at it right now. That's why I'm urging you to go forward. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when the same thing for Virgo and Taurus. I think you're at a point where you have to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life, Capricorn. This is the same question that a Capricorn could ask no matter what their age is. Like, you don't have to be a retiree. You can be somebody just starting a career. But you still have got to ask the question, okay, if I'm facing the truth about what I want and how healthy I am or how well prepared I am to go forward, what is it that I really want to do for the long haul? Well, the reason why it's so important for you to ask yourself that question right now, Capricorn, is because Pluto is at the 29th degree of fate in your sign. And it'll go into Aquarius, and then I think it goes into Aquarius next month, and then by June it comes back into Capricorn. Well, then it goes into Aquarius again, and by the end of the year it comes back into Capricorn. It's almost like a planet that's lost its sense of direction for the rest of this year, going back and forth between your sign and Aquarius. But it's going to end up in Aquarius. And Pluto's stay in a sign is somewhere between 17 to 20 years. It sort of averages about 19 years, but not always. And that's about how long it's been in your sign. And so almost 2 decades. And so you could be at a point of culmination, but that doesn't mean your life is over, Capricorn. It might mean that you are at a really good starting point for going higher and doing more and doing it more your way. In other words, if you worked at a desk job for a long time, or you're stuck in a desk job right now because you need a paycheck, so that's why you're working, fine. But what would you rather be doing, Capricorn? You could spend a little time going for what you want. I mean, nobody works 7 days a week, or at least I hope they don't. But you could prepare for something that would make you even happier, Capricorn. And you could try sowing a seed of greatness right now. You could try something out, see if you like it. And if it was sort of pleasant to do, you could take a next step and a next step. And I'm telling you, even though Venus and Jupiter in Aries are squaring your sun, and so they're squaring that Pluto, I think you can find a way to squeeze in or pursue something that you just want to do just because you'd love to do it. Okay, so we're not talking about a pension plan, or we're not talking about the money. We're talking about something that could fulfill you. And this is a very good time for you to think about that. What will fulfill me? What will make me happy? Because your life is, your career is going to change. There is the possibility that you are on the verge of some new career, but you would be using your past experience in it. Capricorns don't waste anything, so you wouldn't be wasting your past experience either. So good luck, Capricorn, and I hope you plant a little seed of greatness, and that it has something to do with something that would make you happier. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you do have to get ready for change, because it is knocking on your door, Aquarius. Now, this will not be hard for you at all, because right ahead of your sign are 5 of the most wonderful planets you could ever want. And you can just step into something better now, Aquarius. And you would love it. I will describe it. It would be very soft. It will have a soft effect on you. Or else it'll be sort of easy to do. Or there won't be any trouble with it. And you can just walk into it. And the reason why is that you have Mercury and Saturn in your sign. And Saturn is at 28 degrees. Mercury is the planet of the mind and communication. And Mars is trining it. Those are good aspects. But that Saturn is at 28 degrees, and it's about to hit the 29th degree of fate in your sign, Aquarius, which means that, there's going to be a point of you summing up, okay, in all the troubles that I've had in the last couple of years, where has that gotten me? Or where am I going? Or what am I doing? Okay, so those are good questions to ask, because that new moon in Pisces was right ahead of your sun sign. So the lights were there. The sun, the moon, and Neptune, the strongest planet in the heavens, which rules dreams. And so that's what I mean. Whatever you decide you're about to do, Aquarius, it's going to be like a dream. And it's going to be a soft dream. It's going to have a feeling of, oh gee, I belong here. Or this is what I'm meant to do. That's what it's going to feel like. No rough edges. Pisces people don't have rough edges. They're not made of that. And so the sun and the moon and Neptune, that's great. But right ahead of them are Venus and Jupiter in Aries. So whatever you're deciding to do that's going to be sort of a soft, easy thing to do, that you can just walk right into, it is going to lead you to a very successful new beginning. And I almost think you couldn't get away from that if you tried, Aquarius. That is where you're going. Remember, there are no planets opposing, there's no planets on one side of your chart, and there's all 10 of them on the other side. But the really good ones are right ahead of your sign, Aquarius. And so I think you're going to walk into something, you're going to be able to say, oh, does this feel good? This feels really good. And so I wish you the best of luck. I think you're going to enjoy that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when you can feel pretty good because on Monday, the sun, the new moon, which are the lights, and Neptune, your own ruler, were all in your own sign, and they were sort of being lit by the lights. There was nothing opposing them. Mars in Gemini was squaring them, but nothing opposing them at all. And the two planets that are right ahead of your sun sign are Venus and Jupiter, which are coming up to a conjunction in Aries. Pisces, you are on the verge of starting something new. And it probably does have something to do with making a dream come true. And Pisces have very visionary dreams. Pisces are sort of visionary people. And I think that, you could have had a lot of dreams in your life, Pisces. But one of the dreams is it's going to get off to a great start. I'm not too sure how it's going to end, but I think it's going to get off to a great start. And it's just on your doorstep. All you have to do is let somebody know that you want it. And it's going to be yours, Pisces. So say yes. And as I said, I don't know how it's going to end because Aries doesn't have anything to do with endings. Aries has a lot to do with new beginnings. And Venus and Jupiter are there right ahead of your sign. So you're very lucky to be able to take advantage of making some sort of delayed dream come true. And the delay could simply be that you had been thinking about it for a long time. And maybe you hadn't done anything about it. Maybe you thought it was out of your reach. Maybe you were too busy with something else. But now you'll be able to do it. And it will get off to a wonderful new start. And so if you're wondering what direction you're going in, Pisces, it is straightforward. And no excuses. So in a way, you have to realize that you can't go back. This isn't a dream that's going to take you back to yesterday. It's just a dream you had before that hadn't come true. But it is not necessarily connected to your past. It could have a lot to do with a new beginning and with your future. So I'll let you just think about that a little bit, Pisces. But I want to remind you, all you have to do is say yes. And it's going to get off to a great start. So I wish you the best. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read my blog on my website, STARBORNinstitute.org, and I would be happy to send it to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. if you'd like to subscribe to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And please tell your friends about it so that we can sort of stick together through a year that's got a lot of remaining surprises in it, and it would be better if we were all together as time goes on. So I wish you all the very best, and I hope that whatever little seed of greatness you are deciding to plant right now, I hope it leads to a delayed dream coming true, because it could for everybody. So good luck. Bye.